Let's get those rebels out of New Mexico. Come on, Union! Hello and welcome to Civil War in Hindsight. I'm Lieutenant Tommy. With me, as always, is Prospector Johnny. And this week, Prospector, it's going to open with continued fighting.
Of course.
Dear God, March has been just bloody.
I mean, come on. We did have that one day off last week.
We did have one day off.
I mean, I don't know what you're complaining about here. This is war, Peacock.
We got... We got to be in the bloodiest...
What's going on now?
It's got to be the bloodiest month of the war so far, because there's been battle after battle after battle.
I mean, this whole war, the blood per battle, it's just been...
One
of them graphs that goes up at the end way fast.
Yeah, we're right there. And fighting's going to continue out near Santa Fe, New Mexico territory, Johnny. If you remember that New Mexico territory exists.
I remembered.
Yeah, it's there. If you remember from last week, Union Colonel Shivington had engaged and pushed Confederate forces underneath Major Charles Pyron out of the Apache Pass.
Yep, and then just left it.
And then just left it, gave it back to him. And Colonel Shivington then withdrew back to the main force near Pigeon's Ranch.
Yeah.
No fighting is going to occur on March 27th, but at the start of this week, on the 28th, Confederate forces and Union forces would both attempt to surprise attack each other. Like, I'm going to hit you first. And, I'm gonna
hit how embarrassing. Like, they both tried to throw each other a surprise party. And
they did. And then
that's too bad.
Surprise. Union forces.
But they were both very surprised.
Yeah, they were both very surprised. Union forces under John Slow thought that the Confederates would stay near Apache Canyon, so he sent Shivington on an encircling movement to attack the Confederate rear while he's going to engage the front.
All right.
Problem was that once...
little Statue of Liberty or something.
Yeah. Problem was that once Shivington had moved out, it became clear that Confederate forces underneath William Scurry didn't stay put.
Oh, shoot.
And the two forces are actually going to run into each other at 11 a.m., just 1/2 mile outside of Pigeon Ranch.
Another surprise.
So, oops. Union forces are going to see...
Oh, hey.
They're going to see the front scouting line of the Confederate cavalry, and they're going to be like, the cavalry's exposed. Let's hit them hard. And then they're like, oh, shit, it's not...
it's all of them.
It's
the rest of them, too, behind the cavalry that we... didn't see initially. That's
the problem. Slow's going to put up a brave fight, but within 1/2 hour had to withdraw to a set of adobe buildings just 100 yards away from the ranch, where he formed his second set of defensive lines.
Adobe buildings built by the army out there because of
it was ranch. This is just civilians. These ranch. Adobe.
They just took
adobe. It's mud huts. Like the
No, I know. Yeah,
you know adobe. Yeah, it's like
I know adobe.
That's the only building material you have out in the middle of the fucking desert.
Yeah, I wonder who figured that out.
Probably people who don't live there anymore, or got moved elsewhere. But in any case. He's going to put himself up a brave fight. Confederate forces underneath Scurry are going to launch a simultaneous attack on the Union left, right, and center. So three-pronged attack, all-out assault on the Union position.
Holy shit.
But in the process, on the Union left, it's going to hold, and it's going to actually fight back and kill the Confederate officer there, a Schroffsfire.
Oh.
The attack on the center is going to also stall, although Union artillery is going to have to withdraw from the center after one of the guns is disabled and its limber box is destroyed. The limber box is where all the ammunition is kept.
But the ammunition, it
went.
Poofed a little bit.
It poofed, and then so they gotta get out of there.
Would not have been wanting to be one of the reloaders at that point.
No. So the Union forces actually do hold out pretty well up until 3 p.m. When the Union right is going to fall. Although I do have to point out the Confederate officer there named Ragut, he's going to be mortally wounded. So you've got two Confederate officers dead. Now, these are lower rank because this is not a huge battle. We're talking about 1,000 men versus 1,000 men. So these are like
right, but we're also out on the western
captains,
front. Too, so I mean, how many troops are out there?
This is the entire army of the West. The
right,
far
that's
west.
what I'm saying. So it's not like they're like, oh, well, we can recover from this and just bring more in. It is.
No, this is what they have out there. Yeah, this is what they got. Yep. But at 3 p.m., Union forces would ultimately have to retreat as their right flank falls. They're going to pull back to Kozlowski's ranch. I don't know where we got a Polish guy in New Mexico, but we got Kozlowski's
No,
ranch.
yeah. He was looking for gold.
Was he?
Yeah. But he actually came across an abandoned ranch when he got to New Mexico, and he just took it over.
He took it over.
Started feeding the cattle and everything. And
Kozlowski. Anyway,
yeah, no, he's a good guy.
He's a good guy. But all
his dad was a meat farmer.
But all is not lost here, Johnny. Even though the Union had to pull back from the battlefield and basically give the battlefield to the Confederates, you do remember that Colonel Shivington is on his way on a roundabout.
Yeah, he's getting ready to bring up the rear, right?
Yeah, and on his way on a roundabout, he accidentally finds the Confederate supply train at Johnston's ranch, and oh boy, did he proper fuck him.
So
the Confederate supply train is
came across their train. It is just sitting there with supplies, supplied.
Yeah, it's just a rear contingent guard, 100 guys, not that many people. So clearly,
now, and this
Shivington, who has several hundred men, is able to push him aside like nothing. These are just like a handful of guys versus several hundred guys. It's nothing.
Yeah. It is a couple security guards versus an army. So this is a supply train because they're not, New Mexico's not their end destination. This is what they're hoping to take out.
Yeah, they're hoping to go to California,
right?
Yeah, they're hoping to go to California.
And so this is all their supplies to get to California.
Yeah. And he finds it.
And they left it with a couple of security guard doofuses that ran at the first sight of Colonel
Shivington. Yep. He's gonna drive off, kill / capture the small Confederate contingent that was there. He's gonna spike the one cannon that was left there at the field.
What's that?
By spiking is you take a metal spike, you put it in the vent hole, you hammer it in, and you break it off. So now you can't use that gun. There's no vent hole. You can't set it up.
Okay.
So you can eventually use it again if you drill out a new vent hole, but you got to drill out a new vent hole.
Yeah, they're not going to be doing that in New Mexico in the middle. Yeah.
So he spikes the cannon. He's then going to burn the 80 supply wagons, kill and run off the 500 horses
80?
and mules. Huh? 80
supply wagons.
Burn
and then burns those, and then
kills and runs off the 500 horses and mules that are left by the Confederates there.
Oh, come on.
Kill or run off. He doesn't kill all of them. He just scatters.
Okay, I'm sorry. You're right. No, you're right. I'm sure they did fine in the New Mexican wilderness.
He killed like 450 and dispersed the other ones. But anyways, he's going to kill or run off them. And then so with no reserve ammunition, no food, no water, like all their supplies are gone, Shivington is then going to return to Union positions at Kozlowski's ranch. And by the morning, the Confederates went, well, we don't really have much of an option but go back to Santa Fe.
Imagine retreating. You're a
won the battle
soldier.
And you have to retreat.
You're in New Mexico. You're in good spirits after you went and fought them and you pushed them back and you collapsed their right side. Collapsed the center, made them retreat. Sure, the left side held up. That's fine.
The center held up too, but the right side's one fell. But yeah.
Well, but they had to pull some stuff. Anyway, you walk back to camp and 80 train cars
like Victory Salt
with
Pork.
all of your shit is just smoldering in ash.
Yep. And you find the security guard, like, what'd you do? Well, listen.
Not much.
There were a lot of them. I didn't want to die, so I left.
Holy cow. I mean.
And your horses are gone, so he's like, now you got to walk back to Santa Fe.
Yeah, not only that, your horses and your mules, donkeys, whatever the hell you had,
everything's
all just
everything's gone. It's coming home. It's coming home.
To be fair, if you didn't kill them,
everything's gone. Yep.
If you didn't kill the horses and whatever, it's pretty likely they are standing fairly nearby because they don't know what the fuck to do. They're in the middle of a desert.
Probably. On March 29th.
I don't know. Where's my oats?
The next day, on March 29th, it became clear to Confederate forces in New Mexico territory that their hopes of reaching California were officially dashed, and that they would ultimately have to abandon New Mexico territory and head back to Texas. So this is effectively going to end the far west campaign here. On the 30th of March, Union forces would descend upon Union City, Tennessee, securing more foothold in the state. And I have a feeling that all sides are gearing up for a big fight somewhere in Tennessee to be had in the future. You do have Confederate
So it
forces.
sounds like our scouts we sent out last week, they found some stuff.
Yeah, something's going to have to happen.
Like, we're trying to get it, right? We're close to getting Tennessee.
Yeah, we're close to getting it. Well, we already got we've already got,
I mean, we're into it.
Yeah, we've already got Nashville. We got their main supply hub, so
I mean, the music industry has to be just devastated.
Yeah, right. So this month is going to end rather quietly, though, John, unlike how it's been through the majority of the week. But Lincoln is going to have a feeling that Washington was abandoned by McClellan, and he's going to say...
What? Yeah. Do we have another war order?
Yeah, Lincoln's going to realize that when McClellan went on his random boat ride to attack Richmond in a roundabout, stupid-ass way, that he didn't leave a contingency. He ignored that whole war order number 2 where, like, Washington still needs troops.
Got to be protected, yeah. He didn't leave anybody to protect him?
No, he didn't. And so Lincoln's going to recall a large division underneath Louis Blenker, who was supposed to be in support of McClellan's campaign, but... well, we got to have somebody to defend, so please come back.
I mean, why is Lincoln so, like, what's he afraid? Is he afraid of, like, an assassination attempt or something ridiculous?
He's afraid of Jackson's force that's threatening Washington.
That'll take all of Washington. So it's not, it may not be so personal as him just trying to protect himself.
Yeah, he needs something there to...
He does.
Yeah.
I guess that's true. Again, I'm going to suggest moving the capital to upstate New York, where it is miserable.
Buffalo. Time to go to Buffalo.
All times of the year.
I'm sure McClellan's going to use this excuse to not fight the dirty rebels because he uses anything he can find as an excuse. So we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah.
On April 1st, it's going to begin with McClellan preparing an assault against a weak Confederate line at Yorktown, although I just say preparing because, it's McClellan and he doesn't actually do anything, so he's not actually attacking. He's just like moving his troops in position.
Load up your guns, I guess, but don't fire.
But good news, all the way out in the Mississippi on island number 10, Union forces are going to sneak onto the island and spike 6 Confederate cannons before returning to their positions. So good luck using those guns now, dirty rebels.
Why is it called island number 10?
It's just because there's so many islands off the... It's just like... it's not a named island. So on the map, this is island number 10.
Name it. I mean, how hard...
They did. Island number 10, Johnny. Somebody doesn't have a wife at home that they want to name it after, I guess.
I thought we were just supposed to name everything in the United States after either French or British things that already existed. Why not name it the New Paris
France,
Island?
New Paris. Yeah, right?
Yeah. The New Birmingham Island.
New Yorkshire.
New Newcastle. Newark Castle.
Newark Castle. But anyways, they spiked 6 Confederate guns, which is a battery and a half for the Confederates. So this is a substantial victory for the Union. It's just a sneak attack. It's just like a bunch of drunken Union soldiers like, hey, I bet we can get across, break their shit, and get back before they notice anything going on. Which they do.
So this is just some hoodlums. Now, hooligans, I guess would be a good word. Now, the reason they don't confiscate the tanks or
they can't bring them with it. Yeah, they can't bring them with it.
It's just heavy. They're just too heavy.
Anytime
instead of being able to take it, it's just all right. Boop boop. You lose. You can't use it.
Yeah. Anytime you spike a gun is because you don't have the time or the ability to capture that gun. So instead of letting it being used by the enemy again, you just spike it so they can't use it and move on.
Okay.
Because you have to drill a new vent hole, and you don't have a hand drill like. Readily available. It's take time.
It's not easy to get through that.
And so, victory here. On the 2nd of April, Confederates underneath General Albert Sidney Johnston, who was recently put in command of the new army at Corinth, Mississippi, is going to issue orders to attack General Grant at Pittsburgh Landing in Tennessee. So that's where the Union are occupying their forces, building up their army there in at Pittsburgh Landing.
Yeah.
Plans were that the Confederates were going to start their march on April 3rd. And I have it on good authority here, Johnny. This is another side note to a side note. that spies from spies from spies. There's a rumor here that Confederates have a spy by the name of Mrs. Rose Greenhow, who is now operating behind Union lines in Virginia. So I don't believe it, though, because women can't. I mean, women can't be spies. Like, why would there be a woman spy?
What, are you going to give a woman information and expect
the women's going to be able to give reliable information to us?
Understand and then disseminate that information to other people?
Don't believe it.
That seems unlikely.
But allegedly there's a woman...
I don't know about you, but like anytime I go to a local tavern or whatnot, the only people I trust with sensitive information that I have are the women there, because I know they're too dumb to do anything with it.
Yeah, you just tell them how your day's going. Yeah,
tell them what I did, tell them what we might do tomorrow, whatever. It doesn't matter to me. They're not going to do anything.
They're just a bar wench, right? So, anyways, we'll see if this bar wench ever comes and bites us in the ass.
Ever actually slept with me. A lot of promises.
a lot of promises? Oh. Did you give him money in exchange for those promises?
No, I gave him information. I guess it must not have been good enough.
That must not have been. And Lincoln, with support of the U.S. Senate, Johnny, is going to pass a resolution where the United States is going to give financial aid to any state if they adopt a gradual compensated emancipation. So I'm not sure any of the southern states that own slaves are going to go with this, since they've
a graduated emancipation compensation.
So basically, what he's saying here is that any state that has slaves that decides to emancipate those slaves slowly will be compensated for the loss of said slaves. Although right now, in the United States, of the states that haven't seceded that do have slaves, you have the District of Columbia, you have Kentucky, you have Missouri, you have Delaware, and Maryland. So you only have 4 states in the District of Columbia that have slaves. So
right, but that's the idea, though, isn't it? Isn't it the idea that to completely purge slaves out of the Union and be like, this is what we're doing? Is you have to, you can't say we're fighting this war to free the slaves if
we haven't said that yet, Johnny. We haven't said that yet.
No.
That's not what we're fighting.
Technically, no. You're right. You can't say we're trying to strip states of their states' rights.
There you go.
To own slaves, and then say like we also have states that have voted to maintain that right. So I can understand where they're coming from there.
Try to
I guess, I get it.
Well, we'll see if any of those states take.
Now, would it apply to southern states that would want to come back?
I guess theoretically, yeah.
I mean, because
if,
that could
Virginia
be
decided that.
Right? Yeah, Virginia, South Carolina, whatever. They're like, hey, you know what? I guess under that, sure. Because basically, what we're doing is we're like, hey, instead of slaves, here's the money that you would have had to pay them. So if you want to keep doing the thing you're doing,
not pay
here's
them,
some
but
money.
Like here's the loss of here's the value of the loss of your property.
Or instead of having a loss on your property, pay wages to the people doing your work. And then here's like a little booster to get you started, so you can understand what it's like to have to pay people for in order to make all sorts of money.
Well, Johnny, this week is going to end with Johnston's forces beginning to move out with plans to attack Grant on the 4th, although that's likely not going to happen because here on the 3rd, the delays are piling up on delays with, supply issues, weather issues, movement issues, troops ramming into each other on the march. Just delays on top of delays. So I really don't think the week's going to start next week with a battle there with Grant.
That's good, I guess.
Which is good, I guess. Additionally, Lincoln is going to find out that McClellan only left 20,000 troops to defend Washington, although Lincoln, I think Jackson
how many does he
is
want?
The only substantial army anywhere near Washington, and he only has 4,000 dudes. So I think 20,000 is enough.
He was upset about 20,000. I mean,
I think 20,000 is enough.
Maybe if the South was like, hey, all we're going to do is try to take the North, then maybe defend your capital like that. But at this point, it's not the case. It's quite the opposite, where the North's like, we're going to take the South back. I mean, obviously, back. It's ours. We're going to reabsorb the South. But we're the ones after them. They're not. They're like, F off. Just leave us alone, right? Like, it's not.
Yeah. But in any case, he doesn't think it's enough, so he's going to order McDowell's Corps to be withheld and sent back to Washington over McClellan's objections. Although Lincoln is going to politely remind McClellan that he still has 100,000 troops under his command, and right now, in Yorktown, the Confederates only have an estimated 15,000. So Lincoln is going to politely remind McClellan that you have 100,000 guys versus 15,000. So I'm ordering you to move now. Move now. So Lincoln gives a direct order to McClellan, move your damn troops.
Yeah, would you like to go and take that, please? While you have a, what?
Damn near 10 to 1 advantage.
Jiminy Christmas.
To the people, you lose half your force and it doesn't matter. You can lose your force and it doesn't matter. All right, well, okay, fine.
Let's go ahead and let's slow down with this is just a numbers thing, because let's remember the cost of the paper it is to send notes home to every single one of those human lives lost. So the taxpayers are paying for the parchment, the stamp, the envelope, the mailman to take it. So this is it's a taxpayer consideration to take in when you're talking about, I don't know, killing 50,000 people, Tommy.
I want this war to be over, Johnny. Let's look at it. Let's get it. Anyways, final note that I have for this week: slavery is abolished, Johnny. At least in the District of Columbia, with
again,
a vote. Yeah, in the District of Columbia.
They did this in Missouri.
Yeah, Washington, D.C., the Senate there is going to have a vote 29-14 to abolish slavery. So now slaves, you can't have them in Washington, D.C., the capital of a nation that says slavery is bad. So probably a good thing that we've now...
I mean, it feels like it shouldn't have been that close.
It shouldn't have been, but it was. But it doesn't matter. Slavery is now done in our capital. That's it for this week in Civil War in Hindsight. If you enjoyed Civil War in Hindsight, check out Historic Hindsight. We talk about all kinds of fun things like why Michigan has an Upper Peninsula and Wisconsin doesn't own it.